Alright, well, let's get started then. I have no idea how long this is going to last. I'm just going to keep doing this until I run out of questions, I guess. This is my first live stream, so this is going to be pretty bad. Now, let's see. So if you want to ask me questions, you can do it on my Twitter, or you can do it in the comments, or Tumblr. And if you want to be anonymous, I guess Tumblr would be best. But I will try to answer every single questions. If you have multiple questions, then that's perfectly fine. I don't care. Just keeps the video going. And but first, I got some announcements. My World War I video is done. It will be uploaded on July 28th because that's the 100th anniversary of World War I. And it's kind of interesting because not only is it the 100th anniversary of the start of World War I, but it's also the 75th anniversary of the start of World War II. It's kind of cool how both are happening in the same year. Although we're probably going to focus more on World War I. And it's also the 150th anniversary of the American Civil War. That's still going on, so this is quite the eventful year in terms of historical anniversaries. But normally I have videos every 2 Fridays, but now I'm going to have a video every Friday until the World War I video. And one of the videos is actually a video that I've been getting requests for a very long time, and I finally got around to doing it. And you'll find out what that is soon. Let's see. So let's do some questions. I'll start out in the comments. Man, you guys talk really quickly. All right, so the first question is from James Bond, and he is asking me who my favorite James Bond is. Well, let's see. I don't know. When I was a little kid, I thought it was Pierce Bronson, but now that I'm older, it's Sean Connery. I mean, you can't beat him. Daniel Craig is a close second, though. He is really good. And I mean, I'm never like I like James Bond, but I've never been a huge fan of James Bond, so I don't know. I mean, I'll just go Sean Connery. All right, next question is from Chairman Meow, 1220. What is my favorite historical time period? Um, I, I mean, that's kind of hard because it depends on the region. Because if we're going by world history, you know what it's like in the Americas and Europe and Africa and Asia is always different. So I'd almost have to like say my favorite regional history too. But I don't know, my favorite historical time period is probably Europe between 1815 and 1914, which I did some videos on that. I also like the Cold War and of course World War II. I like wars in general, which is funny because I'm a pacifist, so I guess that's ironic. Next question is from Panos3301. Do I like The Simpsons? Actually, I don't like The Simpsons. I don't know why, but a lot of like adult cartoons, it seems like they're ironically too immature. It's like they take everything too far. So I've never really been a fan of Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, any of those. I mean, there are some funny moments here and there, and I guess out of all of them, The Simpsons is probably the one I would most likely watch. But I'm never a fan of The Simpsons. Let's see. Next question is from. Yeah, there are too many comments. I have to dig through them. Don't kill the keyboard. I'll try not to. Alright, question. Will I do another Civilization 5 match? That's from James Wong. I can do another Civilization 5 match. I mean, I really wanted to, but like the 2 games I did try didn't get a lot of people, and Civilization 5 just takes a long time to load up and to get ready, and playing against other people, I mean, especially since the game takes like 5 hours to play, even if you start later than usual, a lot of times, like, something will come up and I'll have to shut the game, and then even if I do save the game, the other people, are on the other side of the world or something, and so I can't exactly continue that. But yeah, I can certainly try another one if it's like a quick game. I don't know when though. We'll just have to keep trying. Oh, and a lot of people have been asking me in other videos if I play any Paradox games, and I'm just gonna clear that out now. I have never played Paradox games, even like Victoria or anything like that. I mean, I don't know, just never got a chance to play it. I'm actually not that much of a gamer. I like Civilization 5, Civilization Revolution, classic arcade games, Mario, Pokemon, Minecraft, but I'm not a super gamer type person, so alright. Wow, a lot of comments are coming in. Yay. A lot of yeses. Yeah, I think the comments may be behind too, so sorry if I don't answer your question right away, but I'll try to get you there. Okay, this question is from Harrison Z. How much labor goes into about 1 minute of video? Well, it depends on the video, because some videos require more research than others. I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, if I did a video over, say, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, that would be super easy because the war lasted 30 minutes and I could probably get the entire video done in a minute. So that wouldn't be hard at all. But like some of my videos, like World War II in Europe every day, that took a lot of research because me being a perfectionist, I definitely wanted to try to get everything as right as I could, and I'm sure I still got some things wrong. And sometimes there just simply isn't data over every front over every day, and so I sometimes have to guess sometimes, but that does require a lot of work. But it's fun, I guess. But well, obviously it's fun. That's why I keep doing it. But I mean, it really does depend on the video. All right, this question is from Drex Mapper. Which is my favorite historical country? And his is the German Empire. Um, well, I really do like Prussia, which I guess is basically the same thing as the German Empire, because it's it founded the German Empire. I also like Rome. I mean, it's really hard. I'm definitely a Prussia fanatic. I mean, I have a cat wearing a pickle halb for my avatar. I mean, I definitely like Prussia. Um, Another question from James Bond: do I play any historical games? Well, I already kind of answered that. I do play Civ 5. Otherwise, not really. Another question was from Thin Mapper. Am I on Steam? Yes, I am on Steam, and my Steam name is the same as my YouTube name. A lot of social media I just use Emperor Tiger Star. It's usually not different. Although I may not friend everybody because I don't want to have 500,000 different friends. That would be really confusing. Um, what war do I find the least interesting? That's from Mr. Owner and Poner. Oh, that's tough because I mean, usually I find tactics interesting, but since I'm kind of a visual person, that's why I like maps. It depends because some wars look terrible on maps, and so I think it's boring. But then other wars just have little events, and it's boring. I don't know because there are just so many small wars that nobody's even heard about. Um, I really don't know. I mean, there are plenty. I really don't know how to answer that. I don't know. Maybe I'll get back to it later. This one's from Elmarto LT. What do I think about Baltic tigers, the growing economy in the Baltic states? Well, if they have a growing economy, that's good for them, I guess. I mean, I don't really know much about that, so I can't really answer that properly. Um, by the way, there are so many comments coming in, I may miss your question, so sorry if your question gets lost in the flood. Let's see. I think I'll answer some questions on Tumblr real quick, see if I've gotten any. Ooh, and I've gotten 3. Alright, see, this first one's from Anonymous. Do I speak more than one? This has several questions. Do I speak more than one language? Well, obviously, I'm native English, well, American, but I speak English as my first language, and I've taken about 4 años de español en mi escuela, about 4 years of Spanish. I'm probably doing another one next year. I really like Spanish. It's fun, and it's not as hard as English. And I really do like languages, actually. I find phonology and linguistics pretty interesting. I try to learn a lot of stuff. Like, I can probably say hello and goodbye in like 50 languages and yet not know anything else. But if we're gonna go by languages that I know, I can have like a small conversation. English, Spanish, maybe. Well, I don't know. I was going to say German, but not too much. Then I'm actually trying to learn Finnish. A lot of people say Finnish is really hard, but I find it really interesting. Have I visited any foreign countries? No, unfortunately. In my opinion, which country has influenced the world the most? Well, that's really hard because if we're going to count empires, I mean, I could just take the cheap route and say the first empire or the first city-state because that brought civilization, but that's kind of copying out. If we're going to go by out of the ones that are around today, I guess I would say the United Kingdom probably because it gave birth to so many countries that are around today. The British Commonwealth is still everywhere. And America does have a lot of influence, but there's something about American culture where it like kind of combines other cultures. So I'm not sure if I could say that. And I mean, it is a superpower. And of course, it's also relative because in America we find Japanese and Chinese stuff interesting, and I'm sure that in China and Japan they find Western stuff interesting. It really all depends how you look at it, because in this day and age we all influence each other. Let's see. And my friend wanted me to ask this: what inspired you to make map animations? Well, I think I've answered this before, but I don't know. I've always liked maps growing up. I mean, I actually got into maps before I got into history. Like when I was 6 years old, my grandfather gave me an atlas for my birthday, and instead of being the average kid and saying thank you with a bad poker face and then throwing it away as soon as he leaves, I actually enjoyed it. I kind of looked at the maps, and I think I got it in like 1999, so the borders were different than now. But and I think the atlas itself had borders from like 1994, so it was kind of weird. But I don't know. I just really like the shapes of the countries, and I thought it was interesting how some were bigger than others. I kind of wondered, well, how did they get all that land? Because in school, in America, you hear about, oh, we bought this land or oh, we took this land, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to learn about how other countries got their land, and eventually I got into history by elementary school, and basically it just kept going. And eventually, I found a book that was a historical atlas, and it combined history and geography together, and I thought it was really cool. And I don't know, just seeing historical maps was really cool, and a lot of people in school in America anyway find history really really boring, and they don't know where anything's at, and while that is very pathetic, I can't necessarily blame them because honestly, our educational system could be a lot better. And so, I mean, I don't know, I just got this idea in my head, and I made a video over World War II, and it was very terrible, and it was the most simplistic thing ever. I mean, it could have been a PowerPoint slide type thing. It was very terrible. But a lot of people kind of understood it better, and so I just decided to make a YouTube account for the heck of it. And 2009, I made another video, and it was over the Napoleonic Wars. It's not there anymore because it's very bad, and it had a lot of inaccuracies, but people just kept encouraging me. I made more videos, and I got better, and I don't know, I just kept going, and I'm still going. So yeah, and I think I've just basically made my goal to never stop making map animations until I run out of every possible thing. I don't know. All right, next Tumblr question comes from Azure Flare. Where did I get the idea for Emperor Tiger Star? I think he's asking about my name. Well, there's a book series by Aaron Hunter. It's called Warriors, and it's about cats that fight each other. It's like a fantasy type book. It's actually really good. Well, I'd say the first arc is really good, and the fourth arc is really good. The second and third are okay. There's a lot of books, but they're a pretty good read nonetheless. But there was a villain character named Tiger Star, and in the first arc, spoiler alert in case you haven't gotten past book 2 or 3 yet, he has a lot of ambition to take over all 4 clans because there's 4 clans where they live at. And I don't know, he just became my favorite character, and so I just took the name Tiger Star and just add Emperor onto it just for the heck of it. Let's see. Final Tumblr question. I guess I only have 3 for now. Have I been to any concerts? And I'm assuming he means music. And yes, I have. I've been to a lot of concerts, actually. Probably more than a lot of people. Mostly American bands, and they're all like rock or metal bands. I've been to Kansas when I was really little, and then when I was a bit older, I went to the Eagles, which they were really good. I saw Bon Jovi. I saw Def Leppard and Poison together, which was fantastic. I saw Journey and Starship together, which was really good. I saw Coheed and Cambria, which they're kind of a small metal band. They were pretty good. And I saw Alabama, which is actually a country band. It's like a country rock band from the 80s. They're actually really good. If you don't like country, you would like Alabama. They're really good. And then just a few days ago, I saw Sammy Hagar, and he was amazing because he did stuff from Van Halen, Montrose, his solo career, the Wabos. They were really good. And I don't think I'm missing any other concerts. I think that's all the concerts I've been to. I don't know. I really hope I go to the Motley Crue Alice Cooper concert because supposedly Motley Crue's on their last tour ever, and then they're done, so they'd be nice to see. All right, let's see. Let's go back to the comments because I don't see anything on Twitter yet. From Elmarto LT, will I make a video about ISIS expansion? Maybe. I mean, I don't usually like making videos of ongoing events when they're still happening. That's why I haven't done anything on the Syrian Civil War yet. And also, like, a lot of modern stuff doesn't have front lines, and so it's kind of hard to show. This ISIS thing actually kind of does have front lines, so I guess I could do something in the future, but I want to wait until everything's done, kind of like I did with the Libyan Civil War. Of course, supposedly, a lot of people are saying that even though Gaddafi's dead, that it's since they're still fighting over there, it's still going on. I don't know. I'd almost consider it like a new civil war, but I don't know. Antoine World Pawa asks, "Do I know any French word?" Which I'm assuming he means words. I do know some French words, but not more than the average citizen, and I'm not good at pronouncing French, or at least I don't think I am. Evan Wagner asks, "Did I ever expect to get 10,000 subscribers?" No, I did not, because I don't know where I'm at. I'm like the only person who is super interested in history and maps. And even though my videos help some people, a lot of people at first took it as just, oh, this helps me on my homework, thanks. And a lot of people weren't interested. And so it's kind of cool to know that there are people out there who are like me and interested in history and geography too. I mean, I knew there kind of was, but I didn't think there would be so many. So I did not expect to get 10,000 subscribers in a million years. Chairman Meow 1220 asks again, who is my favorite historical figure? Probably Otto von Bismarck. I don't know. He's pretty cool. A lot of people I just like because, frankly, they're badasses, and that's usually good enough. I mean, I don't usually focus too much on, oh, this guy was really good at keeping Parliament in line or something like that. I don't know. I do like Otto von Bismarck, though. Ooh. Let's see. Oh, wow, I caught up with the comments. That was quick. FinMapper asks, am I going to make a video about the Great Northern War? I am actually working on one right now, actually. It's kind of funny. It's going to be like an every 15 days type thing because not a lot of quick movements happen during there. But that probably won't come out until the fall because like I've made a lot of my videos ahead of time. So a lot of videos that I'm working on now you probably won't see for a long time. I think the Great Northern War is going to come out in October, November-ish. John Kalkbrenner asks, will I ever do Future of Europe vids? No, I'm sorry. I just never like those. I don't know. I don't care if you do them, but I just didn't like those. Sorry. Drexmapper asks, what if Operation Sea Lion succeeded? Well, if against all odds Operation Sea Lion succeeded and they got a landing force, I'm pretty sure that's considering the Germans had the best land forces, then I'm pretty sure that they would capture London and keep going. And I'm assuming that if Sea Lion succeeded, that means that the Royal Air Force is out of commission. So I guess that would mean that they would gain superiority and take over the United Kingdom. Let's see. Antoine World Pawa says French is so difficult. Yes, it is. Because just a little bit of language history for you. The reason why English sucks so bad and it's so complicated is that the Normans were French, and a lot of English is actually influenced by French and Latin. And like the reason why English has so many silent e's is because French has so many silent e's. And another random fact for you, since when the Normans came over, French was spoken mainly by the upper classes, and so words that were Germanic were considered, I don't know how to put it, inferior. I don't want to say inferior, but like they were frowned upon. So words like the F word, which are Germanic, are considered bad. But if I say something like fornicate, it sounds more proper, and that's because it comes from Latin, which is kind of funny. Let's see. Harrison Z asks, "What's my next project on my alternate history channel?" Um, that series where like the Trent affair went badly. The finale is coming up soon. It's going to be tomorrow, actually, so you'll see that. I'm not sure about what stories I'll do next because I may make my normal videos ahead of time, but my alternate history videos I just kind of do whenever. So I don't know. I may have to take a small break from that because I'm actually kind of struggling to come up with original, doable ideas because I've done like 5 video series that somehow involve the Axis winning World War II by now, or the Central Powers, and it really is hard because you don't want to do something too boring, and then you don't want to do something too complicated. Let's see. Rasmus Ritkula, I'm sorry if I butchered that, asks, "Can I do the history of all the Nordic countries?" I do have old videos on the Nordic countries. I mean, I have one over Scandinavia in general, but some people have pointed out some inaccuracies, which I don't know about that. I kind of have one on Sweden, and I'll probably remake it, but yeah, I'll probably get around to it eventually. Mr. Multilegos asks, "Am I going to make a video on the Spanish-American War?" Well, I already have one. It's not an everyday video. It's kind of one of my older ones, but it's still there, and it's actually pretty accurate. I haven't noticed any mistakes on it yet. Super Luigi 782 says, "In my History of America videos, I have Guyana and Suriname as still part of the UK and Netherlands." Oh, well, like I said, sometimes I make small mistakes, and that is an older video. By the way, if there are any repeat questions, I may or may not answer it. It depends how far in we are. Tomi Koivusari asks if I play historic video games, and I already answered that. Oh, I forgot about Age of Empires. Yes, I do. I did used to play Age of Empires. I think I still have Age of Empires 2 somewhere, and I do play Civilization. Will I do more fantasy maps? That was asked by oh, got lost there. Koenig T1000. Maybe. I mean, it's kind of hard because there's so many, and a lot of fantasy books don't have, again, accurate front lines or anything like that. And being the perfectionist I am, I do certainly want to be as accurate as possible. And a lot of fantasy stuff I actually don't read that much. Like Lord of the Rings, I've seen all the movies, and I think I read the book a long time ago, but I don't know details off the back of my head. And so, like, I would be really worried about making a video like that. And plus, it's hard to find a blank map on the things like the Lord of the Rings universe because even a lot of blank maps, if I put it in Paint, which I make my videos with, if I use the fill-in key, like the border areas will be all pixelated, and then it just won't work because it'll look really bad. It's really hard to find a pixel art blank map of normal history events eventually anyway, which is why I made the blank atlas so people could post that there. Which we got over 50 members on Blank Atlas now, so thanks for joining. And if you ever need a map, I hope you continue using it. because I'm certainly using it a lot now. But I don't know, like finding a blank Lord of the Rings map would be really hard. Like my Avatar: The Last Airbender, I just found it on the Avatar wiki, and it was a godsend because I never thought I would ever find a map like that. So I was really happy about that. But I don't know, maybe. And then like Game of Thrones, I've never watched it or read the books, and it honestly doesn't appeal to me. Sorry, but so like stuff like that, I don't know if I get around to it. Um, let's see. Michael Feldman asks if I would be a ruler of an empire, what would be my empire's name? Oh gosh. I am actually not that good at coming up with original names. I would probably add new and then some old empire to make it sound all mighty and fancy, like new Roman Empire or new Prussian Empire. I don't know. That would be really hard. Evan Wagner asks, what was the most complicated video I had to do? World War II in Europe every day, by far, just because there were so many front lines and stuff. Even the one that did include Japan, it wasn't as complicated because at least by that point, I had Europe done. I didn't have to research any of that because I already had that ready. So I already had half the video, I guess, researched for me at once. So that wasn't as complicated. And I honestly don't think that I'll have anything more complicated than that because World War II is definitely the most widespread war ever. I mean, I guess if there was a war that I did every day that didn't have as much information, that would probably be more complicated, but I don't know. Oh, I thought I saw someone in there. Naglatus asks, do I plan to show how the Crimea conquered? I'm guessing that means how the Crimea was conquered. Well, it depends because the Crimea has been conquered many times. If you're referring to like the current Russian administration of Crimea, and will I show that on modern maps? Probably because I usually like de facto borders. So kind of like in World War II, I'll show Germany annex half of Poland. So I would probably show Russia in control of Crimea because that's just how it is, regardless of whether it's legal or not. 33 Nano 33 asks, what is my opinion on modern alliances like EU or NATO? Um, EU, I wouldn't call an alliance. It's a supernatural union, which I don't have any problem with the EU, but I don't know as much about it because a lot of times online, on comments and stuff, a lot of people will hate it while a lot of people will like it, and I don't know. I'm not European, so I can't answer that. But I mean, the EU is fine, I guess. I mean, if the world unites together, fine. I mean, I really don't care. NATO, however, I kind of think it's outdated because the Cold War kind of ended 20 years ago, 23 years ago, back in 1991, or some would say 1989 when the Soviet Union kind of lost it. But I mean, I guess we could still have it. I just don't see the point in it when we already have so many other alliances. Because, like, I don't know, some people are saying that what Russia's doing right now may start a second Cold War. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. I almost think we don't need NATO anymore if we have things like the United Nations, and the Cold War's over. But whatever. Dushan Podmaniki asks, what if the Soviet Union never collapsed? Well, it depends why they never collapsed, because if that means their economy went well, then I'm guessing the Cold War would still be going on. And, I mean, I don't know, the world wouldn't be too much different. I guess there would be, I don't know how to put it. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of too soon. I mean, I know it's been 23 years, but it's been too soon to kind of say. Someboy21 asks what is my favorite Native American tribe? That's actually a good question. It depends if by Native American you mean just in the modern day United States or if you mean North and South America, because I do like the Aztecs. The Aztecs are pretty cool. The Maya are pretty cool. I never really got into the Inca that much, but they're still pretty cool, I guess. I don't know, but out of all of them, That is really tough. Probably a tie between the Aztecs and the Comanche. The Comanche are kind of cool. Um, Mr. Multi Legos asks, "Am I going to do a video on the different territorial changes on the Pacific Ocean?" I have a video over European colonization in the Pacific Ocean, so it's more recent, but usually before then there wasn't hardly any territorial changes. So I guess I already have a video on that. Um, by the way, a lot of people have been asking me like, do I have a video on this and do I have a video on that? And I mean, it's kind of interesting. I have over 360 videos now, and a lot of people just don't know I have videos, which I totally understand because I just have too many. But I really do have videos on a lot of stuff. So sorry if I kind of like just end it by saying I already have a video on that. But um, Mr. Speedy D3 asks, "What do I think would have happened if Germany won World War One?" Well, usually on my alternate history scenarios on my alternate history channel, I try to make them as realistic as possible. And so usually if you watch one of those, that's probably my opinion on what would happen if Germany won World War One. And of course, questions like that, it depends on how they won World War One. Is America still involved? Did they have a status quo antebellum type thing? It really all depends. But usually, most of my alternate history videos are pretty realistic. I mean, some of my first ones I just made for fun, but then I didn't like it because a lot of alternate history videos that aren't mine, like before I made my channel, like there were a lot of World War III videos or some alternate history type thing, and they were so unrealistic, and it wasn't even funny. Like I remember, like the first one I saw, it was China was so desperate for oil that they invaded Pakistan. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense at all. And just being the person I am, I just don't understand why they wouldn't include nuclear weapons, the United Nations, blah blah blah. Because if there was a World War III, it wouldn't be a nice war like World War II. It would be a nuclear death. Um, let's see. Are there any more questions? I think I'll check Tumblr real quick, see if there's any more. Someone asked me 3 times, what state do I live in? Because I do live in the United States. I usually don't like to reveal where I live, but I can tell you that I live in the Midwest. So I'm definitely in the middle part of the country. I don't live on the West Coast or the East Coast. And I guess the same person asked me the question again another 4 times. So I already answered that one, already answered that one. Oh, hey, I finally got some questions on Twitter. Maybe I can answer some of those. Supermine1337 asks, do I think the Eurasian Union exists today? Well, I mean, the Eurasian Union has been planned to start in 2015, last time I read. In case you don't know, Russia has been thinking about making their own supernatural union to counter the EU, and they're calling it the Eurasian Union, and they're supposed to start in 2015, and it's supposed to consist of Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. I think one other nation, but I don't think it exists yet because it's supposed to start in 2015. Let's see. Gulhan G asks, "What do I think of the Ottoman Empire?" That's always a complicated question because a lot of my audience is from the Balkan countries, and no offense, but you guys like to fight a lot. You really do. And I understand because every single Balkan country has basically like warred with every other Balkan country, and so they don't like each other too much. I mean, I kind of understand that, and I don't know, because things like I don't want to offend anybody, so but because the Ottoman Empire is so complicated because they've done a lot of cool stuff. I mean, they've done a lot of cool Empire stuff, but then they've also done a lot of horrible things to people like the Greeks or the Armenians and stuff like that. And then, of course, if I say, well, oh, the Ottomans are terrible people who do nothing but kill ethnic groups and do Holocausts against Armenians, then I offend my Turkish audience because that's kind of stereotyping. So, I mean, it's just really complicated because all the things that happened just, 200 or 300 years ago still resonate today. I mean, the Ottoman Empire, like, I don't know. I'll just say that the Ottoman Empire is really cool up until the year 1600. Then after that, they suck. I don't know. Maybe that'll make everyone happy. I don't know. Arndt Stain asks, do I have the game Europa Universalis 4? No, I don't. I guess I caught up on Twitter questions. I think I'll go back to the comments. Oh wow, a lot of comments happened. Chain Hunter asks, whatever happened to the World War II Civ 5 game? It never actually happened. Well, it did. It actually got. I was only going to have 6 players because I didn't want too huge of a game because I actually wanted to finish it, and I still didn't end up finishing it. And it was funny. I was actually going to save that game, but then my younger brother annoyingly turned off my computer before I could save it, and I was really angry. So if I ever did another World War II Civ 5 game, it would have to be another one. And I was kind of disappointing because we kind of made an agreement that since it was World War II, we weren't going to start fighting until like 1940 or 1939, whatever year it landed on first. And it was like 3 turns before that, and the game ended. Well, that's when my brother turned my computer off, and that kind of made me angry. But it did happen. The spots just actually kind of filled up really quickly, so you may have just missed it. Super Luigi 782 asks, "Do I have any tips for future mappers?" Just try hard, be accurate, and I don't know. I mean, there's really not much to say. I mean, it really is hard to get an audience on YouTube. I feel very blessed to have such a large audience, and it still took me 4 years. So, I mean, I can't really give you any advice on how to gain more popularity because I don't know, it just happened so randomly to me. It's kind of shocking, really. But I mean, really, if you want to make better videos, though, just try to be accurate. Just try and do the best you can, and try to have good research. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Harrison Z asks, which geopolitical crisis that is currently happening will affect world history the most? Well, that depends because they're still happening, and who knows how history goes because one event from 2500 BC could still be impacting the world today, or something completely random could come up in a month from now that could start a World War III. I would have no idea. So I really don't know how to answer that. Korolevsky Korol asks, can I make a video about Russian territory expansion? I already have 2 of them, actually. It's kind of funny. I have like an old one that goes from Kievan Rus all the way to 2010 because it's really old. And then I have an every year video for the Russian Empire starting from the 1700s. So I have 2 videos on those. I may make an updated one for Russia soon. I don't know. Probably not anytime. Well, I don't know. But I do have videos on that. Kalendachev asks, question, when was I studying about wars? Which one did I find the most hard to remember things about and why? I don't know. That's really hard because wars are so interesting to me. It's usually the wars in history that I remember the best, and I meanwhile know very little about politics. Because like I can name every American president, but I can maybe name only 5 prime ministers and maybe I don't know. I mean, it really depends on how many wars they started to know if I remember a prime minister or something from politics. But in terms of, I mean, wars are just really easy to remember. But I guess the most like the hardest war for me to remember is probably a war from like around the Renaissance time because those are just so random and or like 1600s like around that time because there's no front lines, a country can switch sides at any time and they'll fight on battlefields not in a neutral country like in the 30 Years War for example. So like I may know summaries but I may not know super details. Dre fainted. Well, I hope you get better. Nicholas Rowe asks, what if Germany conquered all of Europe? It depends what time period you're talking about, but because if they somehow conquered all of Europe now, I mean, they're not Nazis anymore, so I don't know. They conquered all of Europe during World War One. They would have some European economic empire to themselves, and if they conquered Europe during World War Two, well, that would suck because the world would be ruled by Nazis probably by that point. Although I guess technically they did conquer a lot of Europe during World War Two. Um, Super Luigi 782 asks, "Do I think World War III will happen?" I honestly highly doubt it. Even though the Cold War is over, we still have nuclear weapons, and honestly, even if we're getting rid of our nuclear weapons, you only need like what 200 to destroy the world, and and America and Russia still have each about 8,000 ish. I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. We're probably not going to have a World War III anytime soon, and if we do, it's going to be a giant proxy internet war, probably. I have no idea, but I really highly doubt it. Chairman Meow 1220 asks, "Am I going to make videos on all the Israeli-Palestinian wars?" I think I have a video on the Yom Kippur War, but I don't know. It's hard to make I probably will get around to it eventually, but it's hard to make map animations on those considering they only last, anywhere from 1 to 7 days. And if we're talking about like when Israel occupied the West Bank or Gaza Strip and when they left and blah blah blah, I mean I don't know because that keeps on happening. That's still like a modern event, I guess, because it keeps going on. So I don't know. Evan Wagner asks, "What if the Napoleonic War succeeded and all of Europe would be united under dictator Napoleon?" Well, I wouldn't call him a dictator. He was an emperor, and actually an enlightened emperor. I'm actually doing a paper on this for school, ironically. But and I mean, it probably wouldn't be that bad. I mean, he did have enlightened laws. He did have freedom of religion and stuff like that in a lot of places. And if we're, I mean, I don't know. I imagine it wouldn't last very long because this is around the same time that nationalism is highly evident. So the Germans and the Italians wouldn't like Napoleonic rule for too long, would want to break away. And if this is assuming that Napoleon conquered Britain and Russia, well, we all know they would want to break away as soon as possible. It's just impossible to unite Europe and keep it pretty much unless you're Rome or something like that. Logan Zombie of Time asks, "What if North Korea collapsed on itself?" Well, I'm sure then we would take the opportunity to, I mean, like if we're assuming that for whatever reason there's no government in North Korea and the army is not rogue or anything, I'm pretty sure we would reunite it with South Korea. I have no idea what China would do, but there probably wouldn't be much that they could or would want to do, because honestly, North Korea is kind of like being that one bratty kid in that family where you try to defend, but it's just really hard and you look bad. Like with North Korea gone, China would probably have one less thing off their shoulders to worry about. Brazen Deary Gibble says supernatural, not supernatural. Oh, sorry. I mean, I've seen both actually. Rasmus Ritkula asks, "What is my favorite leader of a country?" Oh, so I guess we're just talking about favorite leader in general. I mean, Otto von Bismarck was chancellor, so that I mean that he would definitely be high up there because he is I guess my favorite historical person. But if we're going by monarchs, that would also be really hard. I'm not sure if I can answer that question actually. I do like a lot of people. Korolovsky, Korolevsky Coral asks, do I like Putin? No. Let's see, Nicholas Rowe asks, is if each of the states in the United States were independent, they'd probably fight like the Balkans. I don't know, because we wouldn't have very large armies. I think some states still officially have militias, but they're not very powerful. Now, if it was, I don't know, because like a lot of states fight each other now because of politics, and if they're their own independent nation, they would probably have less to worry about, so they probably wouldn't fight each other. Michael Kraus asks, why do I make a YouTube channel about map animations of history? Well, I kind of already answered that, but basically to sum it up, people don't like history, or at least a lot of them don't, and maps made it simpler, and it actually made a few people enjoy it, and so I kept doing it. Leonard Erasmus says, face or get the F out. No. Finwealth asks, I've got a question I throw at every AMA. What do I think about Charles the 12th? Oh gosh, I'm not good at British monarchs at all. I'd probably have to look up to see who Charles the 12th is, and I don't want to do that right now. Let's see if there's any more questions on Tumblr real quick. Because this live stream, I don't want it to last too much longer than an hour. It may, we'll see. On Twitter, Supermind1337 asks, how long did it take to make World War II every day? If we're including research and putting the slides together, on and off, it probably took a period of about 5 or 6 months, but I was also doing school during that time, so like I'd maybe work on it an hour or two a day, if that. Some days I wouldn't work on it at all, so it's kind of really hard to answer, but it did definitely take longer than any other video I've made. Jacob Carter asks, what if Rome rose again? Well, if the Roman Empire rose again, that would be kind of interesting, because it would be really hard to make a lot of conquests in this day and age. That'd be really hard. I don't know, maybe they can just get an economy, like get a better economy, and I guess they could rise that way, but that'd probably be a lot easier. Let's see. Oh, there was no Charles XII in Britain? Oops. Like I said, I'm not usually good with monarchs that well, because there's so many, I don't know, with the same name. You'll probably have to tell me which country he's from, and I probably still won't know who he is without looking him up. I'm just so bad with monarchs, honestly, unless they're really famous and they're like 1 out of 2. Oh, yay, more comments. Maybe I can answer more questions. Koosh Mountain asks, where do I see the world and humanity in 50 years? And if I'm familiar with the technological singularity, what are my thoughts on that? Oh boy, I don't like the idea of the singularity at all. I don't like the idea of an iPod implant computer chip in my brain, because I'd be way too worried about hackers hacking into people's brains or something like that. I'm way too paranoid to even try that. I don't like the idea of singularity. And robots are fine. I don't care, as long as they don't get sentience and destroy the world. I've probably seen too many robot movies, but you know. As for like the rest of the world, I feel like the world will get better. I mean, I'm kind of an optimist, but of course, I like history, so I'm also a realist. I don't know. I think the world will overall get better. Talks22 asks, "What do I think about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict?" Oh gosh, that's just so complicated. Because it's really hard, because they both had both the Jews and the Palestinians have had the homeland at one point or the other, and they've both been unfairly robbed of it. And I don't know, it's just really complicated. I'd like to somehow have them both live together in harmony, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. unless you can somehow make the entire country an international zone, which both sides are probably going to say no to that. I think the first partition they tried to make Jerusalem an international zone, but I think one side didn't agree on that. I think that was the Palestinians. I don't know. I could be wrong. But that's just a big mess, and I don't want to get too much into it. Kalin Dachev asks, if the Roman Empire hadn't fallen apart, would it have a future? Probably, because it didn't fall apart. Would it last into the modern day? I don't know, probably. Panos3301 says, too many comments. I agree. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just my computer. Super Luigi 782 asks, do I think China will go back to a republic? That's really hard because China is just, I don't want to say they're a superpower yet, but they're very close, and I don't know. I think over time they'll get more republic-like and less. They may stay single party, but they won't be as strict. I don't know. It's just really hard to answer. Leonard Erasmus asks, the date is January 1st, 1941. I am Germany. What would I do to best ensure the Axis victory? And if I'd win, how would I handle the emerging, maybe not emerging, Cold War with the United States of America? Well, I don't want the Axis to win, but if I'm forced to pick, I would honestly ignore Stalingrad, and I would honestly ignore Italy and let them just die on their own, because, I mean, the British and Greece aren't going to be a problem, and I can just have the Balkans conquer Yugoslavia by themselves. I don't know. And I would just focus all on Russia and then conquer Moscow before the winter, and then basically just drive them back to the Urals, and then focus on building my Navy and Air Force and conquer Britain. But the question is, can I do that before Japan bombs Pearl Harbor? I don't know. Probably not completely. So I don't know. That'd be hard because I don't think there would be a Cold War with the United States that easily unless somehow Japan and Germany did not make an alliance. Let's see. I think I'll answer like maybe 10 more questions and then I'm getting off. Sorry, got other stuff to do. Panos3301 asks what my favorite movie is. That's really tough because I don't know, because like I still watch a lot of movies from my childhood, like Disney and DreamWorks movies are always really good. Well, not always, but Planes. But I really do like those movies. I don't know, maybe I'll divide it into categories. Live action movies, I would say my favorite is probably a tie between The Dark Knight and the new X-Men Days of Future Past, because I really do like comic books, actually, and those movies were amazing. I do like classic movies, but I don't know, some of them are a bit overrated. If we're going to go by classic movies, I really love Lawrence of Arabia. That was a really good movie. Disney movies, I'd say my favorite is probably The Lion King. And then DreamWorks movies, actually, I would say that it's a tie between Kung Fu Panda 2 and How to Train Your Dragon 2. How to Train Your Dragon 2 was really, really good. Oh, did I catch up with the comments already? I'll check for more questions on Twitter and Tumblr. I think I may have caught up completely on questions because I'm not seeing anything else on Twitter and Tumblr. I don't know, maybe the comments are just doing a thing to where it'll pause and then like every 30 seconds it'll start exploding into comments. John Kalkbrenner asks, what is my favorite historical battle? Ooh, that's tough. because battles just change over time, and of course it depends on your definition of historical. Does it mean decisive, or I don't know. I don't know. That's really hard because a lot of like actually modern battles I don't find as like they're interesting, but like I wouldn't consider them my favorites because everyone has them as their favorites. I really like the Battle of Tours. I like the Battle of Constantinople of 1453 because that's really interesting because in that battle the Ottomans dragged ships over land, which I thought was kind of cool. And then I don't know. There's just so many to choose from. I do like the American Civil War, and so battles like Gettysburg, Antietam, and Atlanta are really interesting to me. Um, Putin on a Ritz from Russia with Love asks, what are my plans for the future and what am I studying at school? Well, I'm still in high school, and I'm actually in the IB program, so I'm just doing basic and IB program, which is supposed to help me with college and stuff. I heard it's actually bigger in Europe, but we do have it in America. A lot of Europeans actually don't know we have IB in America. We do. And college, I'm not going to do anything super big because I actually just want to be a teacher, honestly, which in America may not be the best choice, but I don't know. I just like teaching, and so that would be nice. So just go to college, get a degree in history and teaching, and just teach at my high school or something. I don't know. Or I could be in a rock or metal band. That would be great, but the odds of that happening and me being successful are very small. Although I may just do both at the same time. That'd be kind of cool. Teacher by day, rock and roll star by night. But I don't know. That'd be cool. Finwelf says, oh wait, no, never mind. Uh, Leonard Erasmus says, Tiger Star, ignore my World War II question. No, I didn't. I answered it. Sorry, the comments or the video's behind, so you probably won't hear it for a while. Cameron McLean asks, what is my opinion on the bombing of civilian populations during World War II? I think it's horrible, because both sides are guilty about that. They really are. Because, I mean, Germany may have done it first, but then there was the whole revenge thing, the bombing of Dresden, which was a bit overboard. And then, of course, there's the case of Japan, to where, how are these guys going to surrender? What are we doing? I mean, it's terrible. I don't want to say it's necessary, but I don't know. It's just so terrible. War is terrible in general. Um, um, am I a brony? Well, kind of. I mean, I don't want to say I am because a lot of people picture bronies as overboard fans who go to conventions, do unspeakable things on the internet, and are just obsessed about it. So I don't know. I do watch Mr. Enter. He's actually really good, but he doesn't just do brony stuff. He does a lot of stuff. He's really funny. My Little Pony is actually a good show, and I certainly watch the show, but I'm not an overboard fan, so I don't know if I'd call myself a brony. I don't know. Will I be doing a fantasy series such as Lord of the Rings, etc.? I think I already answered that. Maybe if I can find a proper map for it. It really all depends. Let's see, I think I caught up with questions. Panda Dude 124345 asks, am I going to do Future of Euros? No. Leonard Erasmus says, Emperor Tiger Star Master Race OP. Okay. Mine King asks, do I think World War III could happen? And if it would happen, who would start it? I don't think it'll happen because as stupid as humanity is, we've kind of learned, and we didn't do World War III in the Cuban Missile Crisis. We didn't do it in the 80s, and we didn't do it for the rest of the Cold War, so I think we're fine. But I guess if someone was going to start World War III, it depends, because if North Korea or Iran start a war, the odds of that escalating to a world war are very, very small. I guess, I mean, China or Russia would be most likely, but they're not dumb. They're not going to start a World War III. That's just a really hard question to answer. Let's see. I've been doing a live stream for an hour now, so I think that I don't know, maybe just a few more questions and I'll head off. You know, I'm actually impressed. I mean, there are some spam comments in here, but there's actually not that much. Leonardo Erasmus asks, how old am I? I am almost 18, but right now I'm 17. Finwell says being teacher isn't a good job anywhere. Tell that to Finland. Finland is great to their teachers. Callie Quaxel asks, do I think Carthage would have made a powerful empire like Rome if they won the Punic Wars? They would have been a powerful empire, but I don't think they would have gone as far north, and so they might have actually lasted longer. Kush Mountain says teaching is a noble profession. Yes, it is. What Cameron McLean asks, what video do I consider to be my greatest so far? World War II in Europe every day. Although World War I's going to be pretty close, because when that comes out, I actually got really lucky and I found not only some good music, but I actually found some speeches, which are really hard. And there's this audio program called Audacity, which is really good at editing sounds, and I was able to get a lot of static out of it. So I wasn't able to find too much, but I actually found a speech from the Kaiser at the beginning of the war, and I think I found a Lenin speech too, and an American one, and then some Italian one for the end. It's not too much, but yeah. D-Rez says, World War III has been going on for decades now. No, it hasn't. Kush Mountain says, here's a big question. Do I think the past is important, and if so, why? Huh. Well, obviously the past is important. I'm a history fan, so it's very, very important, but we shouldn't focus too much on it other than learning from our past. Callie Coixel says, no, I joined an hour late. Well, if you missed most of it, once this live stream is done, it should pop up as a normal video. D-Raz asks, who do I like more, Romans or ancient Greeks? Romans. I don't know, the Greeks are interesting, but city-states just find each other I've never found as appealing. Meanwhile, Rome conquered the entire Mediterranean, which has never otherwise happened, which is a very impressive feat. I think I'll check Tumblr and Twitter one more time, and then I'll stop the live stream. Which I'm not seeing anything. Well, I guess I've answered a lot of questions, so, well, thanks everybody for joining in, and thanks for all the questions, and maybe I'll do another live stream again sometime. I'll have a new video tomorrow and every Friday until the World War I video, so, yeah, just thanks for joining in, and I'll see you tomorrow.